And welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 4. And today we're getting ready for Shabbat. Hey folks, that's right. Today is Friday, so we're doing a little Shabbat prep today. Now, full disclosure, I did most of my cooking yesterday. I kind of spent most of the day yesterday in the kitchen and popping into the dining room where the kids chose to do homeschool yesterday and helping them with homeschool stuff and kind of ignoring everything else. So it was mostly like cooking all day and then cleaning up after myself and helping the kids with the homeschool. Now, the kitchen is still an absolute disaster, and that is because we cooked dinner after I finished cooking and cleaning up last night. My son cooked first dinner. He made pancakes for everybody. Super delicious, super fun. He totally cleaned up after himself and I was so proud. It was one of those like moments where I'm sitting there watching my oldest washing dishes at the sink thinking I have done something right in life. You know, we have those little moments that just feel so rewarding as parents. Okay, and so then after that though, Mr. Firefly came home a little bit later and he made second dinner, which was delicious as well. But there was a bit of a mess and it was late and I did not want to clean up after that. And so, yeah, I went to bed and I left it all here for this morning. And for those of you who are like, why doesn't Mr. Firefly clean up after himself? Because that always comes up. I don't want him to. It's my choice. I choose to clean up after him. I enjoy cleaning, he enjoys cooking. I think that's a pretty fair deal. And anyways, he is outside the house all day long, working super duper hard with a very stressful job so that I can stay home with our kids. I do not mind cleaning up after his dinner dishes. It's a small price to pay. Okay, back to it. Today is Friday. Like I said, I did a ton of cooking yesterday. Yesterday, I made fish. I made a potato kugel. I made puppy chow, also called Muddy Buddies, for desserts. I'm like a huge bag, and I made something else. I'm pretty sure no, apple kugel. Yes, I made apple kugel, and then I also made sourdough dough. So I need to work on that here to get that shaped and into baskets so that I can bake that later on this afternoon. What we need to do today is make a main course, and Mr. Firefly will be doing that after he gets home from Beit Knesset from the synagogue, because he is at the morning services right now at Shachrit. Okay, so it is a good thing we have a lot of food. I made a ton of food yesterday, and I am so glad that I did because we knew we were having a lot of guests this weekend. We ended up being asked if we could host a family for Friday night. Super fun, very excited to meet them. There's a new family that just moved to our neighborhood, and I'm really excited because I've been meaning to reach out to them anyways because we have so much in common, and I was so excited to meet them. So I've not met them yet. I have no idea. I spoke with the wife on the phone for 5-10 minutes the other day. She seems super sweet. So anyways, very excited to meet them. Have no idea who they are. And then tomorrow we invited some friends of ours. We invited a family to come. And then yesterday, like after I'm halfway done cooking all the food, I get a phone call asking if I can invite another family who needs a meal. And I was like, sure, no problem. So now we have like 20 people at lunch tomorrow. So it's gonna be super fun. I'm excited, but I'm very glad that I made a ton of food. Today I'm baking 6 loaves of sourdough. I've only done 4 in a day, so I'm pretty excited to see how 6 turns out. I ended up liberating one of Mr. Firefly's giant tubs that he used for sous vide to make my dough in, and that's in the fridge right now because it was too much dough to fit in even my most giant mixing bowls one. Which is probably good because Mr. Firefly ends up using this one. I don't know why, he likes the giant mixing bowl. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna start my day by cleaning up in here in the kitchen. And then Mr. Firefly will come in and make the meat. I will be baking sourdough. The table, I already cleared off and put the tablecloth on. I brought everything out to the table that I need to set the table for tonight. So I do need to finish setting out everything. It's just kind of like in a pile there on the table. I don't know if you guys noticed that when I was doing my tefillah out there this morning, my prayers, you probably saw that everything was just kind of out on the table. And that is because baby Firefly really enjoys coming up and playing with the table. So there's really no point in my setting the table now because either he will pull things off the table or he will just mess everything up on the table. So I just kind of leave it in stacks and it's much easier to kind of control that situation. And then later on this evening, like the last thing that I'll do is set the table. Probably the last thing I do. If baby Firefly goes down for a nap, then I can do it then. Because then he's napping. Okay. It has been a super busy week. Actually, I'll just chat with you guys for a second. It's been a really busy week, but it's been a really fun week. We haven't even done that much. This week was a mostly stay-at-home week. We've been having a lot of storms in the area. Nothing serious, just enough to kind of keep us like away from going and swimming in the local creeks and going to the local parks and things like that. But we are craving the outdoors pretty hardcore. So I've been shopping for tents this week. I really wanted one of those rooftop tents. I've been wanting one for years, but they're super expensive. I mean, they're like $2,000. So that's just not really, we're not gonna do that right now. And that is okay. So we are looking at family tents, something big, something that we can stand up in, because we've only ever really had like those smaller dome tents, and we want to get something big, something that we can have some room in, and something that we can stand up in. So that's something we're kind of working on. So that's been happening this week, and I've been scoping out different trails in the area that we can go hiking at and stuff like that, just to spend a lot more time outdoors this summer. This will give us some more stuff to do this summer. We were thinking about maybe sending the kids to summer camp. I don't know, kind of back and forth about it. Like, it sort of seems like a good idea, but like maybe not. I don't know. So anyways, I think the current decision is not sending anybody to summer camp. Summer camp meaning like a day camp here locally, not sending away to overnight camp. Anyhow, despite the storms, we've been spending a lot of time outdoors this week. We got the kids a splash table, so they've been really enjoying that outside, mostly baby Firefly, but they enjoy playing with him at the splash table. And like sidewalk chalk and bubbles and things like that. Okay, so I think baby Firefly needs a little bit more attention. So let's go ahead and close this portion here, and I'm gonna go play with him, love on him. He has finished eating his breakfast, it appears. So So I'm gonna go be with him for a little bit, and then let's clean the kitchen together, or at least get it a little bit more under control. So for the kitchen, it was really just a tidy up. I wouldn't probably really call it like a clean up because I didn't pull out any cleaning supplies, but I was just mostly putting things away where they belonged, throwing trash away, finishing putting groceries away, putting the dirty dishes into the washing machine, you know, just like different things like that. Now, I did go ahead and wipe down counters that I had pretty much cleared off, and I wiped those down with a baby wipe, just really to get off like crumbs and stuff like that, kind of like bigger things. But again, I wasn't really so much trying to like clean it like with cleaning supplies, just trying to get it tidy enough that we could easily and comfortably use the kitchen the rest of the day to finish getting ready for Shabbat. When I tidy up the kitchen like this, I usually kind of go in a circle around the kitchen. I start off on one side of the kitchen, clear off that counter, put things away, move to the next space, clear it off, put things away. and just continue moving on. There's kind of like 3 little counter areas in our kitchen that I focus on one after the other. And then I can come over here, and by that point I'm really to where I can just wash the dishes. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just doing some of the hand washing that needs to get done because the dishwasher is already loaded up and probably running again at this point, or at least ready to be run soon. I did have a little bit of help from little baby Firefly who came out here. He sees the water turn on and he just wants to play. One of his favorite things to do right now is pull a chair up here to the kitchen sink and grab a couple of cups or bowls or whatever it is that's available and just kind of pour water from one to the other, or let the faucet dribble just ever so slightly into whatever he's got. It just gives him so much joy. He really, really loves that. Washing dishes is probably my favorite part too of this little kitchen tidy up thing, mainly because I know that I'm done after this probably. But like the kitchen's really clean at this point, so it's nice just to kind of finish up and have everything nice and neat. Okay, kitchen's under control. Let's get that sourdough started. Okay, I know I just cleaned the kitchen and I'm cleaning again, but this table, my kitchen table, is where I'm going to be prepping the sourdough today because I have just so much dough that I am working with. So I want to get this particular area like extremely clean before I, pour dough on it and start like really working here. So what I did was, I wiped it down and then I cleaned it off with some cleaning supplies like a cleaning spray. And then I went over that with a wet towel just to kind of rinse up any cleaning solution that might have still been on the table, and then dried it off. And then I started bringing out all of my stuff. Okay, I'm prepping the table a little bit more just by sprinkling some flour there, and that is going to be just before I dump the dough. I prepped my baskets by making sure the liners were in there, and then I put in some rice flour in the liners and kind of rolled that around, tapping the basket a little bit so that was nice and even throughout the edge of the basket. And then I was just laughing at how much dough that I had because this was just such a giant tub. I'm feeling like a little home micro bakery, even though this is literally just what I need to feed my family and our guests to get us through the weekend. Okay, the dough wasn't really just like dumping out like I thought that it might, so I grabbed my bench scraper and started scraping the sides and kind of easing the dough off that way, and that worked really, really well to get the dough out of the container without, leaving a bunch of residual dough on the sides of the container or anything like that. Okay, so once I had that there on the table ready to go, I kind of started folding it over a little bit onto itself. This is what I see everybody do on YouTube. I don't know. I still am very much a sourdough beginner. I am no expert at all, but I'm having a lot of fun and it tastes really good. Okay, with the bench scraper, I'm cutting up the pieces of dough so that I've got 6 loaves. I'm not weighing these or anything like that. I just sort of guess, and that works out really well for me because I don't need any uniformity within my bread. I prefer actually to have some loaves that are a little bit bigger and some loaves that are a little bit smaller, because depending on how many guests are at each meal or if it's just our family or whatever, I need a different size loaf of bread. Okay, I had to change the camera angle there because baby Firefly was all up in this. He was very excited about what was going on, so I had to change the angle to keep him out of it. All right, so anyways, with those individual little piles of dough, I was folding them over onto themselves and then doing that thing where you slide them across the table a little bit and kind of pull them back at you to build up that tension. I feel like I was finally getting that. I feel like that was something that I wasn't really able to do before, and maybe that's because I was normally doing this on my counter, which is like granite or something, and this is a wooden table, so it worked out much better here. So perhaps it's a surface issue, but I think from now on I'm going to do my sourdough bread here at the table no matter how many loaves it is that I'm making. I really enjoyed here at the table. Okay, scooped each of those up and put them into a basket and precariously stacked those baskets on top of each other with those little plastic plates to cover up each of the baskets, and just continued moving on. Don't worry, nothing fell at any point. Okay, once I got my final loaf done and put that into its bowl, I just kind of left that there for a second. I wanted to get cleaned up, and then I washed my hands, and then I brought those bowls of dough and put them into the refrigerator. And then I cleaned up this area really, really well because again, this is our table where we eat off of a lot during the day. The kids are eating here especially. So I wanted to make sure that there was no flour on it or anything like that. And then I vacuumed up under the table so that everything would be nice and clean and even better than I had originally come to it. All right. Final thing that I needed to do here for this bread was clean that giant tub that I had the dough in, which of course I immediately splashed water on myself, but that is no big deal. And anyways, then I just kind of got to scrubbing that with dish soap and a sponge and getting that all clean and shiny so that it would be ready to use again another time. Okay, so I told you guys this was the first time that I had used this giant tub to mix my dough in or to put it in for my sourdough. And I ended up telling Mr. Firefly that I was liberating this tub. He was no longer going to be able to use it for his sous vide or whatever it is that he used to use it for. It was now mine. And I'm now keeping all my sourdough baskets and such in there during the week. Okay, sourdough is in the fridge. Here's what that looks like. I ended up using a glass plate on those extra 2 baskets that I had because I only have 4 of those plastic plates, which fit so perfectly. Okay, with that done, I'm gonna sit for a little bit. The kids are playing outside with the sidewalk chalk and the splash table and stuff like that. So I'm gonna sit and edit for a little bit so that I can get this video out to you guys and probably do a little bit of laundry because there's plenty of that to be done as well. But I'll pop on and film a little bit later on when something slightly more exciting is happening. I don't know how exciting it is for me to set my table, but at least it's more Shabbat related. Okay, see you guys in a minute. Okay, friends, we are back. It's been a few hours and now it's like 1:15, 1:30-ish. I've got my smoothie here for lunch. The kids had nachos and smoothies. We just kept it super simple today. Lunches on Fridays for all of us are very low-key, very simple. We try not to like cook too much. I know I cook the nachos, but that doesn't really incur a lot of dirty dishes, so that's not something that I mind too much. But like I wouldn't go making grilled cheese today because we're just busy and there's stuff everywhere, and I try to keep things clean and a little bit less work since there's just extra work on Fridays getting ready for Shabbat. So what's happening right now is I've got a couple kids out back playing. I got a couple kids inside playing. Kitchen's pretty under control and stuff like that. And I am heating up my Dutch oven there in the oven so that I can get started baking the sourdough bread. So I'm just gonna start scoring a loaf of that and we'll start baking this bread. I really do enjoy the scoring of the sourdough. I'm definitely not super duper good at it or anything like that, but it is really fun. Okay, so I just dump out my dough and I've got my little, I don't even know what you call this thing, a lame, something like that. And I love feather designs, so I'm putting a little feather design on this one, but I don't know, I do different things all the time. I like to experiment with different designs and kind of see how it ends up baking out. So one of these days, I'm hoping to get better at this. But for now, my loaves still keep cracking in places where I hadn't planned or just, I don't know, it has a little mind of its own, and that's okay. Like I said, I'm a beginner. I'll get it one of these days. This particular design though is one that I have done before, and I think it turns out really pretty. I don't necessarily do it usually with the larger cuts, and it usually turns out well, but anyways, I tried the larger cuts this time to see how it works, and it worked out well. Okay, so I've preheated my Dutch oven in my oven at 450, and I'm gonna put that bread that I have scored just directly into that pot. I don't add water anymore. I used to, and I don't know, to me it wasn't really making a big difference, so I quit. And now I'm just putting the loaf right there in the Dutch oven. I do take this kitchen knife, this little like butter knife, whatever you want to call it, and I kind of press the edges of the parchment paper so that they crease over, because I don't want them to touch the bread loaf when it's baking, or else it ends up not getting that crusty crust on those areas. So anyways, lid back on, put it into the oven, and it's good to go. Okay, so that's in the oven now. That's gonna be in there for about 30 minutes, and then I will take the lid off and leave it in for another 15 minutes so it gets that nice brown on top. And then I will just repeat this entire process for 6 loaves. So for 5 more loaves. 5 additional loaves. So yeah, I will check back with you guys now in about 4.5 hours when I finished all the loaves, and I can show you what they all look like when they are finished. And what I'm gonna do is pick 2 loaves for tonight, probably like a big one and a little one, and then whatever the smallest loaf is, I will save for Sourdough Shlishit for our 3rd meal of Shabbat, because that'll be just our family. We're usually not so hungry by then. I mean, we'll finish it if it's there, but like we don't need to. And then for lunch, I'll have the 3 biggest loaves since we've got the most people coming to that meal. So excited, so much bread. It's gonna be great. I really need to figure out how to bake more than 1 loaf at once though, because 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. That's 45 minutes times 6 loaves. So that's a little bit of time. So it's gonna be like 6:30 tonight. But that's okay, Shabbat starts late. Shabbat starts at like 8 o'clock tonight. Sorry, I just like peek around the camera there, look at the fridge. So yeah, that's good. So I'll finish baking the bread. And like while the bread is baking, I can do stuff. All the kids are outside right now playing in the hose. But while the bread is baking, I can be doing things like setting the table. I'm gonna have some sushi later. Mr. Firefly is gonna bring me sushi. I'm very excited. I can put dishes away when the dishwasher's done. Like I can do stuff while this is going on. But it is kind of this chunk where I need to be in this general area for that whole time. So, okay. Anyways, I'm rambling. I don't know why. But I'm gonna turn off the camera now and check back with you guys in 4.5 hours when all of the sourdough is done, and I can show you what it all looks like, all pretty and out on the counter. All right, talk to y'all soon. Okay, and that's a wrap. We are all set for Shabbat. It was a long afternoon there of baking bread, but it is beautiful, it smells amazing, and I can't wait to eat something tonight. Here is what the bread looks like. Also, I was able to get the green beans in there. Mr. Firefly went to the store, got the green beans, and I was able to put those in after I finished with the sourdough. So those are cooling off on the stovetop right now, and I'll just put them in a container in a bit because they're for lunch tomorrow. And I'm all done. Everything is done. Table is set, and we are good to go. And so that is it for this video. Thank you guys all so much for being here. As always, I super appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, and I can't think of anything else. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know how things are going for you. I would love to hear. And if you got any good ideas for some new Shabbat side dishes, I am definitely in a rut. Maybe it's not a rut. I just keep making the same things all the time, which my family enjoys, but I like to try new things too. So if you have an idea for something new, let me know in the description box below. Okay, but that's it, and we're done. Again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload.